And here, I just started experimenting with, with these pivot fittings. And so there's literally just like a piece of tube, and some threaded rod in the top of this. But the way this piece is fixed on, it's got screws coming in from the back. And if this screw is left out, there's the opportunity to move this just slightly left or right, which means that the door can lift up or be lowered. So there's a really kind of mechanical way of adjusting the location of the doors before you put the final screw in, and then plug it and then close it up. We haven't plugged the front screws yet because we're just waiting for the doors to settle for a while and then just have a bit of a look at it, maybe put some packers on it and then just glue it off finally. But then I start kind of taking chamfers off like this. And so this kind of chamfer is something that I haven't done before, but I wanted to slightly express what the door might be pivoting or it might be moving. So I kind of cut this off to try and use shadow and light to sort of describe what the door might do. And I don't really have a proper description as to why I did it. And I held these pieces up, and I think I had the chamfer going this way at one stage and then the other way, and I kind of moved them around. I said, I don't know, I guess that kind of looks like it's supposed to open that way. I'll just attach it. But I'll come back and have a look at it later, and that's something now that is like it's in my list of sort of explorations. So that's sort of fun to do. Doors are kind of nice to make. The other thing that's kind of fun in here that I've done a little bit of before is I love kind of timber handrails and towel rails and kind of things that are shelves and racks and whatever they might be, and that's on there. The unresolved, I've got a lot of these things in my jobs, I can tell you that. So, and how these things kind of might meet and how you sort of fiddle with them, and didn't quite get glued on where it was supposed to go. But this thing, normally if you're going to build a glass box like this, you'd either have it full height or you'd have a steel frame or you'd do something else. Whereas here it's really kind of crazy to attach this really solid glass to something as lightweight as these sections of timber. And then just to say, well, what does the detail do? Is it a handrail, or is it a glass structure, or is it a kind of a grab? And so I like to kind of mix all those things up. This is my favourite type of behaviour of what is it? Is it kind of the structure that holds it up, or is it something else? And is it just a pattern? And a lot of thought goes into deciding what that pattern might be, and what these dimensions might be, and what that is, and what are the overlays. So that's kind of me, having a great fun with stuff, and obviously it's repeated into there. Likewise with these lights. So this is another sort of ongoing process here. LED lights are fun to play with because they give reasonable light. They're cheap to use, low energy use. And this, I used to just kind of do a channel in the ceiling, and I'd have either a brass or an aluminium channel. And then I started to think, those old kind of fluorescent battens with the sort of the baffles on either side, or diffusers, whatever they are. Why don't I make them out of timber? But I was kind of in the drawing that I have, and you'll see this in a sketch, I've got another bit of folded brass that will sit inside that, so you can't see the LED light, because as ever you're trying to not see the source of light. Like a golden rule, don't look at the light, everything should be reflected. So I'm going to do this little brass fold here, and that might be something I'll do without Simon knowing anything about, because I've got on another job I'm doing all this brass stuff, and I can just get a bit of brass folded up and just, while you're doing that, just fold that bit up. I haven't quite worked out how to attach it yet, but my way of kind of working out how to attach stuff is just holding it up there and just like waving it around a bit, and seeing what light comes out of it, and then working out how I'll attach it later. And I might stick things up with sticky tape. I'm often like, putting bits of tape over things and just having a bit of a look at it. I mean, that's all this on-site prototyping that you should be able to do. You should be able to go on site, and start, holding up bits of cardboard and paper, and, we're always kind of folding up bits of card and holding them in front of stuff and just going, what will happen there? Like classically, trying to change light levels by holding up sheets of things and taking them away and putting them back and kind of seeing what happens, just to, experiment with light. All this sort of stuff this is pretty just typical kind of concrete stuff. I'm really wanting to get more into like black mirrors and bronze mirrors. So there's a couple of different mirror types here. and it becomes a bit of a showroom, of mirror types. For just see, oh yeah, that's interesting, and how that happens. This kind of's got the window around the back here. I mean, I think that's worth having a look at because it has other elements of like the sort of looking for the phenomenological things to kind of happen. It's a shame that that's attached, unattached. Yeah, someone got it.
I'll get it for you.
Yeah. But I'm sure you've all had a look at this, and it's not finished yet. But there's this kind of weird thing, where you can see the mirror in the glass. I don't know if you've looked through there, but it's, yeah. And so that was just something that I thought might happen because having messed around with glass stuff before, and circles of glass and other layers, something will possibly happen. So that could be quite exciting and unexpected and fun. And so, the mirror, the kind of the circles and, has provided this sort of illusion of where is the hole and where's the mirror and where's the depth. And for me, that's just another like, oh yeah, I'll jot that down and use that again, just see what happens. We're literally wondering how we're going to kind of close it, what's going to happen with it. And so then we just kind of prototype up these little bits of plywood. And then I'm sort of thinking, well, what's the most amount of fun that I can have with these? And I'm thinking about making one like a brass disc, and then another glass disc, and then possibly getting that sandblasted or having another finish on it, because I'm literally laughing, to myself going, how about that? Like a circle with that, and then another glass circle, and then another glass circle on that, all of them rotating, and it's just like this.
I thought you were going to say that they were going to be. I thought you were going to say they're going to be little mirrors.
Well,
what happened to getting a few more mirrors going?
Yeah,
here?
but this maybe the brass should be mirror backed, and so then you've got to get into this point of like what's on the back of that? Like there's another circle. I don't really understand that. So, but that's actually me just kind of just showing off my skills. It is a bit like just saying, well, that's really cool and kind of fun and playful is that important thing. So.